Yeah, he's just basically trying to say everyone's cheating.
We're going live. We're going hot. Let's go.
We are now live. We're live. They can see your flag and they can see Trump talking. So there you go. Hi, everybody. We are going to start soon. I'm just getting everything ready. I want to create some commands for the chat. Because be sure to share.
You should tell all your friends to come tonight so that we can have a healthy discussion about what is going on in the world. And I said healthy. I'm not here to hear cuss words or I can't believe you feel that way. But if you got a friend that would like to come, they should chat with us.
Oh, he's about to finish talking. Oh, he didn't even answer any questions. Interesting.
Yeah, Donald Trump, he's had it. He's had it. Like, this dude was like, if I don't get re-elected, I'm not leaving peacefully. Oh, wait, I almost forgot something super important. Yeah, they're the tits.
Oh my gosh, I'm just trying to... Okay, I think that's good. You are officially half a TV screen.
Love it. Let's try that. All right, chat. Can you trust something for me? Type !share in the chat. Hey, chat. Chat. Hey, chat. You there, chat? Chat. I'll do it. Fine. What are you doing?
I'm trying a command. !share. If it doesn't work, that means I have to, like, set something else. Don't forget to mod Streamlabs by going to your YouTube settings, community.
Yo.
Oh.
Yo, this is crazy.
So I have to go to settings and community?
These boys just jump into them DMs.
Alright, I guess I'll do that. Okay.
What?
This is not the right account. This is the right account. Alright, so studio.
Oh my god, that's awesome. Because, you know, on Zoom, my American flag looks a little reversed.
Community.
So it's nice to know on YouTube it looks, it's facing the correct direction.
There we go. Alright, let's try that again. I'm going to try that again. !share. Let's see if it worked this time. Or maybe it will. Maybe it'll work next time when we start the stream. All right, I'm gonna mute the TV behind me, and we can get started. I'm good to go.
There you go.
Okay, let's.
Just want to probably lower and put some. Like.
All right. We are gonna get started as soon as I find all the buttons I need. Oh, let me set the volume. It needs to be at 7 or 5. This has to be at 69. Good. Rejoin if we need it, just in case. 69. Ha ha ha. Evil laugh, just in case. Okay. And notes I got. Stream is ready to go. Everyone seems to be happy, I think. Hello, everybody. I'm not getting any statistics on my analytics, but that's okay. Maybe it's just... let me reload it. Let me reload the page, just in case.
Are you ready for that?
Okay, there we go. Now I'm
getting... Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Here we go. And we are getting started in a 3, a 2, a 1. Oh, wait. Oh, I forgot one more thing. My bad. Gosh, so many things to take care of. So many windows. Say something.
Say something, a heartbeat, and head to head, neck and neck.
Do it again. Do it again.
Say something, a heartbeat, and
all right, that's
head
good.
to head.
That worked.
That's a good song. I'll send it to you.
Okay. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
People like to get worked up about things, and that's just not our style. So, to save you guys a call to the authorities, take a listen to this. The opinions and ideas you hear are those of the hosts, their guests, and their callers, and not those of the companies, sponsors, or advertisers for this podcast. And with that said, enjoy the show.
We are now officially, sadly, on Exodus from the spooky season. It is now over. It is a wonderful November 5th, 2020, and we are hanging out here at around 7 o'clock p.m., 7:10 p.m. to be exact, and from the spooky season, we immediately jump into some intense and really confusing and really crazy and long election process for possibly a new president of the United States of America. And it's been a wild ride since November 3rd, which is when all this started on Tuesday. And we're going to kind of talk about a bunch of that kind of stuff. But before we get into that, welcome to the show. This is IceT and the Hippogriff, and I am one of your hosts. My name is Jesse Harriton, and I am also known as IceT Kirby on all of my social media and gaming stuff. And I am joined here by my wonderful co-host, Miss Victoria Sorrentino, also known as the one and only Do the Hippogriff, at Do the Hippogriff, on her social stuff. You can catch our live recordings every Thursday night, which is just like tonight, around 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, of course, you can find the recordings of our episodes the following Tuesday. So, yes, on Tuesday next week is when this episode will be out. And if you're listening to it right now on a Tuesday, chances are I'm talking to you from the past. That's pretty cool. You can find them on Anchor. Anchor.fm/IceT and the Hippogriff. Or you can find it pretty much anywhere else where you get your podcast. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that fun stuff. iHeartRadio, whatever, and all that fun stuff. You can call into the show. You can leave a text or a voice message. That's your way of participating with the show by dialing the number 432-8358, and that is your way to have a chance to be featured on the show. And yes, sometimes we'll even take phone calls. So if you're really into this episode and you're really having a good time, feel free to call us during our live performances. Last but not least, be sure to follow and like and share and all that fun stuff, and that helps us get out there and helps us make a better show for you in the long run. One thing I also wanted to say though is, I need to say this more often, but when we do the intros, be sure to show up to these live streams, because having an audience here to talk to and chat with is really fun, and the more people that we could get hanging out with us in the chat on YouTube, the better. So I'm just gonna extra promote that shameless plug right there for ourselves. But anyway, Victoria, before we even get into all this crazy stuff, how's it going for you?
What a week. What a week, Jesse. I love being here. It's given me we've been doing this for about almost 7 months, and it's just given me every single time the opportunity to, always work on something new. So, every Thursday, it's a joy to be here. It's the best part of my week, like I said. I've always said. But funny thing, I was actually working at a polling place this past Tuesday for the election.
Like polling place, like volunteering polling place, or like you just happen to work in the same building as a polling place?
So it's I get paid, so it's not volunteer work. But
Okay.
on the day of the election, I was at a polling place where people in my neighborhood could vote. And for the day, I was just there with a group of people, and we saw people voting, and it was really cool. There were some people that some people were campaigning too close to the building. So, we had to ask them to leave. But it was really nice that everybody was really cool about wearing masks and, staying away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was great. Unfortunately, some people said, "Hey, can I register and vote?" You can't really do that, but it's an experience, to be honest with you. And it's also like a pleasure to be a part of, this process that we've been so glued to for the last 2 days. So I'm really excited to talk about it. But, how's your week been?
It's been interesting. I mean, work has been pretty much the same as it's been since all this started. So nothing new with work, but I mean, I posted a status on Facebook that I got more likes than usual, just because I feel like everyone can relate to it. And in fact, you mentioned it right before we went live. I posted on Facebook. Did anyone else find themselves waking up multiple times last night and immediately checking your phone when you would otherwise immediately go back to sleep? And then I did the weird drunk emoji thing, because that's like the new thing right now. Everyone's using it. But anyway.
It's chaos. It is total chaos right now.
It is.
It's like, you know what? If you didn't go out for Halloween, this is your second chance. Do over.
It's freak show, right? Like, it's literally, it's just like
the circus is coming back.
And it's not like I don't want to say I'm nervous, but it's like anxiety, right? It's kind of anxious. It's like that. It's like going on a trip, right? Like when you're a kid, you're going to Disney tomorrow, and you try to go to bed the night before, but you're going to Disney the next day, and you just can't sleep because you're excited or you're anxious about it. I mean, obviously, this is not excitement, like necessarily positive excitement, but it's like that. It's that adrenaline almost. And I went to bed on Tuesday after all this started, and I saw it wasn't finished, and I'm like, oh man, like here we are at 10:30 at night, and it's still going, and it looks like it might not even be done. And now you have the certain states that are reporting that they're going to take a few more days to do it, and you're like, what? And so I'm waking up and it's sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you have to pee. Okay, gotta go pee. Pee time, bathroom at the middle of the night. Everyone's done that, I'm sure, but. I mean, I would wake up and I'd be immediately going on my phone to Google the election results to see where they stand, because Google has that election results page easy access. But it's wow, that happened to me multiple times on Tuesday. So I'm glad it didn't happen to me really yesterday. Last night I did not. Wednesday night I did not wake up in the middle of the night, thank goodness, because it was already bad waking up multiple times on a school night on Tuesday, especially when I wake up at 5:30. So I was like, I don't want to do that again. But yeah,
It's
it's been
you
an
know I
interesting roller coaster.
No, absolutely, absolutely. No, I told you, I've been up. I have, unfortunately, the last couple nights have been really long nights. I've been up until about 2 or 3 in the morning for the last couple nights, just watching. It's really, it's, it's almost kind of like out of a book, almost like out of a movie. What's going on? This is we've been, you and I've been alive for Clinton,
Mm-hmm.
8 years of Bush, 8 years of Obama, and we've just completed 4 years of Trump. And and even in 2016, we had the vote totaled the night of. What could have possibly happened for this particular election? Like, how many people came running out of the woodworks?
That
How many people that couldn't vote, because there's a little thing that's been going on about, felons now had the right to vote, and some states are, for example, Florida, are still making it a little difficult for people who have felonies to vote. So it's interesting to see, because when Barack Obama ran for president, they said, oh, this is the highest African American voter turnout in the history of the elections. And then Donald Trump is running for president, and however that demographic appeared and ran to is probably a lot of older people. But
well,
now in this particular election, everybody, like everybody, decided they were going to get involved. I uh, I have spoken to several people who said that this was their very first time voting, and it was kind of shocking. Like, I've been registered since I was 16. They just approached us and said, "We'll mail it to you," but you know,
yeah,
I'm
and
still shocked. I'm really shocked of what's going on right now.
I am too. Although I take that back. I'm 50-50. I'm not that shocked. Um, before I get into that, I wanted to shout out the chat, because I think we're gonna start shouting out the chat more. Ashley says you need to fix Victoria's screen. There's like some news conference on the side of her. Yes, Ashley, don't worry. That is literally TV. That is CNN, and I have the election on CNN on so everyone can see it. I did that on purpose. So yes, Victoria is a little bit smaller today, but that's okay. She'll, this is for the sake of if we get any breaking news or any exciting news from the election, I want to be able to reference it, right off the bat. And Dan says, "Jokes on you, I couldn't sleep." Yeah, I didn't sleep well the first day, on Tuesday. Wednesday, I will say I at least got a full night's rest. But yeah, and then finally, Lisa says, my mom says, today they said they might not even have election results until Tuesday. And yes, I read that somewhere else, I believe too, and that's because they might recount, they might do this and that, but I think they can still call not a prediction, but it's not like you're not like naming the president, but you're like saying they're the president elect. Like, it's like almost like
Don't
a
do that.
unofficial
That's
announcement. Like, the official
mm.
announcement would be Tuesday next week, if that's what happens. But there would be an unofficial announcement like, as of now, the 270 have been reached, and electoral votes, and this is the new president unofficially,
But this
like
is
that kind of thing.
this is what's going on here. This is what's going on here. Let's address something here. Okay. Last night I saw on the internet, I Googled it, that Joe Biden had 264 electoral votes, and Donald Trump still had 215 votes. Like, listen, if they're gonna go and recount the votes, I'm cool with that. But it's gonna be I don't know. I think that's gonna be an interesting landslide.
I'm interested
I've
in
seen posts.
No, I'm interested in and we'll get into this maybe later. I don't want to talk about it too much, but I've been watching CNN's footage, and I know Google and like Fox News's footage, they have different numbers. Like you said,
Hmm.
Biden on some other platforms has 264. On CNN, he still only has 253. So I don't know. I don't know what they're counting
Who?
differently, or what they've confirmed in terms of vote confirmation or whatever. But it's like, I don't know. I'm going with CNN for I don't know, for their perspective, but I've seen both, because I check the Google every now and then too, the Google elections results. But anyway, you
I don't.
mentioned why people are fleeing out to the polls this season, not season, my goodness, this election. And I might have an answer for you that might maybe help. Well, personally, if before I say numbers here, but personally, I do think it's because of the intensity of this last term. I will say that. I think this, and it's not always. I wouldn't even put it all on the president himself. But the combination of the president being the way he is, and the combination of the virus that's happening now, and all these things, the social injustice that's been acknowledged now by a lot of people that living here,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of manifested itself into this huge thing now. Like, okay, like,
But look at, but look, take that. I'm sorry,
okay,
keep going. Take that. I'm gonna take this and let's keep running with this. Yeah, there's a lot
what?
of social injustice. There's a
But
lot of
that's what I'm saying
terrible
is
things that have been
is
brought to light.
but you have to, yeah, and it got brought to light, and it's been or acknowledged by the people, but maybe even I can be, maybe I'll brave enough to say the lack of acknowledgement from the president himself. So that kind of also incites people to say, okay, he's not doing anything. We need someone new, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it's I don't think it's a coincidence, or maybe it is. Maybe it is a little bit of a coincidence that like the virus came, and now he's basically saying it's fake, and then it's not really fake, and then thousands of people have died, and now hundreds of thousands of people have died, and now it's like, well, people look up. People look up to who's leading us in during this crisis, multiple
Mm-hmm.
crises, right? Well, I think that's a call to action for a lot of people when there's a lead, essentially a leader, someone that you're supposed to look up to, or ultimately a servant, right? The president isn't necessarily supposed to be the person in charge. He's supposed to be the person serving the people and doing his or her best to serve the people, right? That's pretty much it, right?
Yes.
They make the tough decisions for the people. They sign papers and pass bills for the people. That's,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. So it's almost
Okay.
that, like, they're not necessarily supposed to be like a leader like the king. They're supposed to be a leader as in someone to serve and help us grow as a country and unite us. But
Okay.
in obviously in recent times, when it comes to this virus, when it comes to social injustice, when it comes to a lot of other things, LGBT uh, uh, controversy there as well, you know, people aren't too happy with that, and a lot of people are actually really happy with that, and it's caused a division in our country. There's a divide amongst a lot of the people here, and with that divide, there's actually been a lot of. This is going to sound so confusing the way I'm putting it. We are divided, but those divisions of people have united within themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And because of
Absolutely.
that, now everyone's like, we got to go to the polls and make a difference, and or
Absolutely.
we got to go to the polls and make sure there is no difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think there's a call to action with all of the recent history within our country, and I think that is why there has been a turnout like there is, because it matters to a lot of people, a lot more to a lot more people. You know,
Absolutely.
Okay, but anyway,
Absolutely.
yeah, I knew you had a thought from before. I hope you didn't forget it, but that was a.
Not, I mean, kind of, sort of, not really. Like I'm hearing you out, it's amazing. Like it is astonishing, because in the years past, I have been working with the elections office since 2008, when we first elected President Obama. And, it's just been such an experience to be a part of this process, because it really is a big part. It really is a big part of like things that we do, and that you and I are getting older, it's going to matter more. So I am the early voting, the turnout, couldn't believe it. The polling place that I was at was pretty busy all day long. But it's ooh, it's a tight race. It really is a tight race, just to hear a lot of people's perspectives. Like, I'll be really honest with you, a lot of people that I know are Trump supporters, and that's interesting. I never really knew that they were Trump supporters. And it's not even that I have a problem with them or that I think it's a bad thing. It's actually opened the door for a lot of healthy discussions. So, I mean, I guess I can understand where everybody's coming from, why they would want to vote for one or the other and not one. But it's we're gonna we're going to see who handles this best, to the best of this man's ability. He's handled the virus as best as he can, which was, sending out that stimulus check and giving everybody like all that unemployment for as long as it's been coming out.
Okay. So
That's really the only way. That's the only way that he can help you. If all the businesses are closed, you can't go to work, but the store has to stay open because you need goods and services, but you need the money to do it. At the end of the day, he literally did not want to give anybody that money until he could send a letter to everybody. It's kind of like disrespectful in a way, like demeaning the situation. But the man literally just told everybody, "I'm extending my hand to help you." As far as like other policies and things go, I really don't even know if he like himself has a hand in like constructing those policies or laws. I really don't think like he has the capacity to do it. He's really only worried about money. So when it comes to other topics and policies, I think in the future, should he win this election, we might have to look towards the people in the office. At the end of the day, he's just going to be the face of whatever somebody is
the
talking about,
the idea of this is how I kind of see it, and this is what I've learned through this last 4 years anyway. Is I don't mind the idea of someone who's not a politician being the president. In fact, a long time ago, that's how it was. There weren't really politicians. There were people that were citizens, but they were natural leaders. They were smart, educated people that took the helm, right? And and that's fine. And as much as I'm not a fan of Trumpy, okay, because I'm not like he is a businessman, right? Like he's worked with money a lot, and which would probably be if he had a strong point, that would be it, right? But I just when I think of someone that people are supposed to depend on and look up to, and I see the reflection of his behaviors outside of money, because I don't think money is the most important thing. It's very important. It is definitely like a top 3 thing of a country is money. It's like the economy matters. I understand that. But I think the next biggest thing is literally the social aspect. The people and how they are relating to each other, how they are with each other, and how if there's peace or not. With a country without peace isn't really, I mean, it's a country, but it's a really shitty place to be. Like, I don't care I don't care how nice of a country it looks. I don't care how new the buildings are, or I don't, but if everyone hates each other and you're on the brink of I don't want to say civil war, because I don't want to throw that out there and make people freak out. I'm not saying that, but you have people hating each other on a whole new level almost, I feel like a level that was never that was not as transparent, or not transparent, not as not as relevant,
as apparent as it was before.
Apparent,
I've honestly, I had somebody, I had my first like social media fallout with somebody. They deleted me because they didn't like my opinion on something, and it's just crazy because, that didn't matter several months ago when I was doing things with you. The thing here that we really need to understand: united we stand, divided we fall. No matter really truly how we slice and dice it, America is in a lot of trouble. America is like in the middle of an identity crisis. We really need to like take this time to really look at ourselves. It's got nothing really to do with like who the president is. We the people really need to learn how to better treat each other. At the end of the day, it really kind of sort of, it for the most part, it unfortunately has to go back to money. You need money to pay your bills, you need money to have a house, a car, food, and whatever. And everybody wants the equal opportunity to do it. So at what point are we going to stop saying like, this person feels that way and I feel that way, so screw you? Who cares?
Well,
I don't have to like you. Let's just respect each other because we have things to do,
right. But it goes, that's my thing, is the guy, the person not up top, the person that's supposed to kind of reflect us, right? As a country, they're supposed to be the country's reflection, or the country's surrogate being.
He's our face. He's the role model.
Right. Like when he's spewing out stuff that's very controversial and very unsensitive and unfiltered and it's social stuff. I'm not talking about the business stuff. Say whatever you want about the business stuff. I'm talking about like, you know, a guy who maybe not in the office, obviously, but in his history, a guy who has said things like, or who, you know, I want to grab him by the whatever. I know that's an old thing that we've learned, but it doesn't matter. I don't care when it happened. That's not someone I think should be, you know, put up at the top. And then something that he said just a few yesterday, to like, we're doing the voting process for the election right now. He says to stop counting the votes. Dude, that's the whole point, is to count the votes. Like, you're losing. I get it. It happens. Like, people lose things sometimes, but you can't just. It's like one of my good friends. I have a friend named Jason, and we would play GameCube together in middle school. And as soon as he started losing, you know what he would do? He would turn off the GameCube. He'd be like, ah! And he would turn off the GameCube because he was losing. Because he didn't want to lose.
That's a sore loser.
Well, that's kind of. But is that what a president should do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is that what? Like, what is that? And he's constantly. He's constantly tweeting on Twitter in all capital letters, and his diction whenever he does a speech, his diction is very. I don't want to say brainwashing, but it's very, very manipulative, the way he says things. And you can tell he's preaching. You can tell he's preaching to a certain audience that he knows will receive what he says in that way, to an extreme or to a fault. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying other leaders per se or role models haven't been that way as well, but he does it to a level that it's like that boyfriend who knows exactly what to say even though he's done you wrong so many times. It's like you know what I mean? It's like that's what scares me. That's why I like the business stuff. Again, if you could take away all those social aspects from Trump, all the social stuff that he's done wrong, I wouldn't be so like offended. As I mean, obviously there are things even politically that I don't agree with him, and that's fine. But that's supposed to be the beauty of the country.
Democracy.
You disagree,
that's right? You don't need to agree with everybody.
Exactly.
And, like, I get it. Like, we need to respect everybody. No, listen, and I get it. It is very preachy. It is very like it's got like an overtone to it. It does feel like somebody's brainwashing you, and I get that. You know, I I don't know that that's somebody that we need representing our country, truthfully, you know. But
I mean, and I'm not trying to. Again, I'm not. I know this. I'm already. People are like, Jesse. It's like obviously not, you know, a Trump supporter. That's fine. I'm not. I'm telling you, I'm not. But I'm also not a huge political kind of person. Like I've started diving into politics literally this like around 2017 till now. Like this is kind of as this campaign and presidency has gone since he was elected, I've kind of started to pay attention more. And I promise you, before then, I didn't really give a flying crap about it. Like, I wasn't really interested. I didn't care. I was like focusing on my schooling at UCF, and it wasn't something I was thinking about. But now that I'm like an adult, these decisions will come and affect me sooner than later, probably. You know what I mean? Like as a person who might own a home soon, as someone who's working in like an adult job, it's like now I'm starting to listen, but I'm not starting to listen to one side or I'm not starting to listen to only one side. I'm trying to do my best to be neutral, and with that neutrality that I've been trying to achieve, I've also started to really dislike some of the systems we have here in terms of how we elect people and why there's a party system and all that fun stuff. I'm not going to get into that because that's not what we're talking about today, but it's just it's all relevant, and it's just he again as I would think is like a more of a neutral position here. Again, the policies are the policies, and that's the democracy part of it. That's the part that we're supposed to respect and value as a country. But when you're coming up there and saying things that are socially unethical or immoral, and you're preaching to a choir that you know is going to sing with you, you know what I'm saying? It's like That's
that's
where I'm.
uncomfortable.
That's
That's
where I'm like,
uncomfortable.
because I can go to Bush. I
Well,
can
and
go.
that's my
I can go
thing.
to a bunch of other Republican presidents who would never like say it with the way he says it. They might
No,
say
absolutely
similar
not.
things. They might say similar
Absolutely
things
not.
like not supporting pro life or what, or supporting pro life and not pro choice or whatever. But the way he says it is like not presidential. It is not professional. And that's where I'm like, I don't like that. And that's why I don't support someone like that. I mean, on top of the
No,
policies,
absolutely,
but
absolutely,
even more
absolutely.
so, and that's that, and I
That
think
can't be
that
someone that
also
speaks for you.
right, and I think that also contributes to why this turnout was so huge, because we had 4 years of it, and people are like throwing up, and their heads are exploding from the monotony and the craziness that was this past 4 years as a president, and
Yeah,
like that's, and
but I
I think
mean,
that's it, and so
it
yeah,
goes both ways too, Jesse. It really goes both ways too. Like there's people who didn't like what he was saying, and then he also had quite a turnout of like
but that's
Latino
what I'm
voters,
saying.
and they've been out in Miami like in full swing. Like they're preaching and hoping that this man wins the election. It's I think that's really interesting to see what has happened in the last 4 years in this country. There are a lot of people sincerely who feel that what Donald Trump has or has not done has not been good at all. And then there are people who feel that whatever he has or has not accomplished has been a great thing for this country. It's again, I shouldn't be, but I am so shocked. This is where we are right now. And it's really interesting that you mentioned that you said that you never used to, really like pay attention to the polls and like what was, these things that mattered to you. When I got my absentee ballot, I spent the last 2 weeks filling that thing out because it was just so wordy, and I wanted to make sure like I understood everything, because just like this is starting to impact me. So I took a look at the things like did you notice did you have anything specific for Orange County?
Like in terms of voter, like the ballot,
Yeah, yeah.
the amendments on there, and I'm trying to remember them off the top of my head. I didn't have them in my notes. One was the second amendment, I believe, was the minimum wage.
Mhm.
One of like to increase minimum wage. One of them was, oh man, allowing non-citizens to vote. I think that was one.
Yeah, that was a
Um,
statewide one. Those two.
those were two. Though I don't recall any Orange County specific ones off the top of my head, to be honest. Not that,
Yeah.
not off the top of my head, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because on my ballot, I had that. Like we elected the mayor, we had the sheriff, we had the commissioners, the judges, and then just like I guess municipality policies they were wanting to pass or modify.
Uh huh.
So it's just like you said, like it's really cool. Like you really need to be educated on what's going on in your community. And just like you said that you want to remain neutral about it. It also sounds like you're open to the idea of being educated about both sides, and that
Oh,
you
I
can
thought,
just kind
yeah,
of
no, no,
like,
no, no. I will. I would. I said this. I forget who I said it to. I would get a tattoo on my arm or my leg or somewhere that says "remain neutral" or something. I don't know. A reminder to always look at both sides and to always um, consider both ends and perspectives and experience both perspectives. I just again, because of how this last election went, and because of how much I've been paying attention more, and the way I've heard people say things, and the way I've heard people talk about the other side, I've learned that like, wow, like people are really, really biased. I don't want to get into it because it's like this could be a whole nother podcast episode, and I don't want to talk about it.
I mean, people are
But
just people are
long
just
story short,
incredibly passionate about what's going on.
long story
Like
short,
it's dialogue. You need to talk.
no, no, no,
We
but
weren't there, so there's no way to get like a definitive answer on what happened and who's really right. But we have to just listen.
no, I get that. But I'm just saying, imagine saying what you just said, but there was no team color involved. There was no name for a political party involved. It was just candidates, and whichever candidate you liked, you voted for.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much what this ballot looked like.
No,
When
no.
when I was when I worked the primary elections, when I work these primary elections, you have to have a declared party. So yes, if you're a registered
Which
Democrat,
is
you have to take a Democrat ballot. It doesn't matter if you changed your mind to be a Republican. If the card says you're a Democrat, you're getting a Democrat
but
ballot. If
that's
you're
what I'm saying.
MPA, you're getting MPA. But when we get to the general election, it doesn't matter who you are or what you feel like. It's all there.
But
And I
I
actually think
disagree.
that was
That's what I'm saying.
one of the
It
things that we voted on.
but the
Did
primary
we vote on that?
the primaries are almost more important than the general election, and you can't be neutral. I think that's wrong. I literally am coerced into a party to participate as a citizen. That makes no sense to me.
It's not coercion. It's not coercion. Like I really like I can level with absolutely everybody on why they feel like that's coercion. But it's not coercion because it's logistics. It is for your candidates to see where they stand amongst the community and where it's working the best, what is working the least, and what area they need to target better. It doesn't help like if in March, candidate A was only getting, 30% because they thought, they weren't doing very well, but they changed their political party affiliation and then boom, they win. And like that has happened. And that's what they're trying to prevent.
I just think again, I would rather.
But look, at the end of the day, like you are free. Like this is your freedom. So do I think that if you want, like you want, but we gotta stop. Like the thing is, I don't think it's that people are objecting to giving us what we want. We all just need to agree on something. And the problem is we cannot agree. Like we cannot all agree on something. We're all different people. We all have different wants and interests, and it kind of goes back to those things where it's like, oh, well, if you're pro-choice, you must obviously only like it for abortion. It's like, okay, well, that's not why I like it. I like it because like I'm giving somebody the opportunity. Like we need to look at it in a bigger like picture.
Okay, well, I don't know. I'm just gonna reference the chat. Daniel says, I can't keep I can't keep eating dinner with Aunt Donna and telling her to shut up because she thinks the rich shouldn't be taxed. Yeah, that's funny. No, it's and then he says, yeah, now I agree. I want more options and not to be locked into my own party. It's just I understand the reasoning and the history behind the party system, but now that we're in 2020 and things are expanding, there's more candidates, there's more options. I just don't think the whole idea of a party and having the party be blue and the party be red and it's like rooting for a sports team. And I don't think that's how the country should be ran, is like rooting for a sports team. I think it should be ran in a way where you think you find a candidate that you like, regardless of the color. Let's say color, but I meant team. Regardless of the team that they're on, because there shouldn't be any. It should just be, this is a guy with these policies that he wants to not enforce, but to acknowledge and maybe approve. Or this candidate has these policies that they want to acknowledge and improve or approve. And it's like, that's it. I'm a fan of this candidate. And that gives that, not only does that not just incite bias, because I'm sorry, there's a bunch of dum-dums on both sides of the aisle that when one of these people talk, whether it's Biden or Trump or whoever is on their team's color, they just automatically drift that way. Just because they grew up, mom and dad voted this, so I'm going to vote that too. And blue forever. It's like, well, you can't be blue forever if there was no blue to be. You know what I'm saying? Or you can't be a Republican forever, a red forever when red's not a choice. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then it becomes more of just it's like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. And I feel I like, understand. and that would, and then you look at like today there was a post, and we got to go to a break soon because we're already like 30 minutes. But there was a post on Facebook today that I saw, and it's a little GIF image, and it shows the United States, right? I don't know if you probably saw this. I don't know. It shows the United States, and it shows like the red and blue states, right? And it says you're not voting for the land, you're voting for the people. And then it shrinks the colors into like little spheres or little balls or little circles on the map to show you like the density of each Republican or Democrat, right? And it's clearly showing you that like the Democratic areas are much more congested than the spread out Republican areas, right?
Because like you said, like a lot of people are uncomfortable by what has been said and what has not been done.
But here's my point. Is like, yeah, okay, I get what you're saying, like with the Electoral College and like why like you need to have like balance. But imagine if all those red and blue circles were all just gray. it wouldn't matter. Like, you wouldn't have different colors and different whatever. You would just have people
I
voting for
mean,
who
at the
they
end of the
think
day,
should be. And that goes into the electoral college, which I also don't like. But I'm not going to talk about that either. That we should talk about that like next time or something, because that's like the whole party system and like electoral college and like how that all works. We should talk about that because that's
mhm.
sorry. Go
I'm
on.
I'm down. I'm down. But like, but before we drift too far away, something, I really want to just draw on what you're saying right now about there being a bunch of gray instead of red and blue. You know, at the end of the day, isn't that really what we're kind of already doing? There's people who are pro-choice and pro-life. There are still, Planned Parenthoods. There are still women's clinics. There are people that are not for gay marriage, but you can go get married in all 50 states. There's people who don't care for trans people. There's people who are just straight up racist. At this point, we sort of really are just kind of doing what we want. We've always kind of just been doing what we want. What we've lost is the respect for each other. We're
Um,
suddenly so saturated with pain and realization of just all the terrible things that have been happening or the things that have happened, and the fact that we haven't moved on from them or had the ability to, cope with these traumas.
I half agree,
I
or
mean,
I
you
three
don't
quarters
listen.
agree.
It's right there, Jesse. It is right there. It has always been there. Okay, for realsies. Like, it's not illegal to burn an American flag. It's just frowned upon. That's my First Amendment right. It's not illegal for what Caitlin Bennett's been doing. It's just frowned upon. You see, like, we are literally doing whatever it is we want. Period. We always have been. So, I don't think a presidential race should be the reason that everybody's gonna take to say, like, oh, now, like, you've already been doing it. So
It's less about
this feels
it's
more of like a popularity contest at the end of the day. Because
which
I've
that's
been telling people, I kind of just made the example to my friend the other day. I said, listen, with all the nasty remarks that Donald Trump has made, at the end of the day, if he sincerely did do and feel like that, your benefits would be gone. You would have absolutely no benefits from the government, and what would you do?
but that's what I'm saying. It's
And
like
the fact that
it's
no, and that's not what you're saying though. Like, the thing is like, the fact that it hasn't happened, the fact that like this person can like continue to go about their means and things like that. Like, this dude, yeah, he's an uneducated fool, an asshole, which is why I think he's a smokescreen for something bigger that's going on. Which is why this is so uncomfortable. This feels more of like a popularity contest
no, but
as
what I'm
opposed to
saying
like, this is
about
a leader I can actually get behind.
but what I'm saying about the party stuff though isn't that it's not about it is about the popularity thing. What I'm saying is as a citizen, your right to vote. It's like almost like it's something that you're accountable for. It's something that you're supposed to go. You're supposed to educate yourself on a candidate, learn about what they like and don't like, and then make a decision based off that. But because this guy is on the red team, I'm voting for him, and that's it. And like, if they didn't have that red color, literally the red color that they could see, or the word Republican, or and vice versa, the blue color that they could see, and the word Democrat, if that wasn't there for them to just latch onto right away, they are forced to look into it. And that's what we need more of, is people that actually are going to dive in and look for, because they can't, because I know what you're saying, people do what they want, I get that, and they vote for who they want for, but at least they would be making the effort to find out which one of their candidites is supporting
Jesse,
what they
that's
want
a
to support.
choice. That's a choice, Jesse. Like, you have to want to go and know about your candidates.
But
It should really
but
have
they
nothing to do with like red or blue. Like, that's kind of like judging a book by its cover. And that's the mentality we have to walk away from. That's the mentality, truthfully, that's been plaguing us for so many years. Oh, we look at this person, he looks a little different, probably doesn't speak English. Let's walk away from him. Let's look at this person dressed a little raggedy, must be from a different side of the town. You know, you have to want to get to know these people. You have to want to get to know where they stand, who they are, and what they're going to want to do. Really, truthfully, like, I would say in the last like 2, 3, 5 months, I have really given people the opportunity to sit down and like really like give me their perspective on things. Because it's crazy. This is the wild, wild west. Because it doesn't really matter how I feel. At the end of the day, you're going to take what you're going to take, and I have to give what I have to give. You know, Party or not, if you are choosing not to be educated on things, it's you reap what you sow. You know,
No,
like when I was
I
doing this
agree.
temp job, at the end of the day, like you need to know what programs you're signing up for. You
Right.
can't possibly continue to call me on the phone and expect me to just educate you on everything. You
Right.
know, with the
I
evolution of
agree.
technology and we can talk all we want, like you have to do some work yourself.
I
Like, why does the
agree.
government have to do everything for you? Be
Right.
interested in the people that are talking to you.
That's what I'm saying. But what I am saying that I don't know if you got yet is that choice to not go further into learning about these people is a result of the incited bias caused by having a party to identify with all the time. If there was not a party to identify with all the time, you can't just latch onto it and then be done like these people are doing. They're choosing
Some people,
not
yes. Some people,
a
yes.
lot of people
I'll
do
tell you, it's not
exactly
a lot because I'll tell you, like I've seen a lot of people
no.
coming in, they wanted to go from Republican to Democrat. You know, like I've been doing this for 12 years. Like
Yeah,
I
but
have
you also
watched a
live
lot of things happen.
but that's in
So
South
like I've
Florida where it's like an urban center. If you go out to like Christmas, Florida, which is in like essentially BFE, those
hmm
people there's I know I'm making like a harsh judgment, but I'm like a lot of those like open areas where there's not much going on, and it's like I hate to call them like anything, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like
we're in Yeehaw.
there's
We're in the
a
Yeehaw land.
yeah, Yeehaw Junction kind of turnpike. Like I have a hard time believing that a lot of those people go on their computers, they do a sophisticated research of whatever. I just don't. I think there's a lot more dum dums out there that than you're giving them credit for. Like I just
I'm
do.
giving a lot of
That
people
just
credit.
on both sides. I think on both
I
sides there
am.
are a lot of people who latch on and they immediately just hug the nearest blue object or the nearest red object because it's that color, like, or that team or that party. And it doesn't even matter what the other party has in store. It doesn't even matter what their own party has in store. They just whoosh, oh, that's what I grew up with. That's what I'm staying with. And I'm sorry. Like I just think there's a lot more people that I'm not saying it's like the majority, but I'm also not saying that it's a small pocket of people. I'm thinking that it's a big chunk of people that do that. And I just think it's all because of the biasness. There is a clear biasness, and it's not an educated bias. It's just a immediate bias. Like just and that's why
The
I'm not
surface.
a fan. Anyway, break time because we've already gone like 40 minutes or somewhat. 45 minutes, jeez. We'll when we come back, I have numbers. I think we'll end with numbers today. I don't want to take too long because I mean it's a long episode. We have numbers. I have numbers about the election. To answer the question since the beginning that we were supposed to answer that I never got to, but about why the numbers of how many people have been showing up and like how crazy it is, how many people have gone out to vote and why it's important and all that fun stuff. But you're listening to IceT and the Hippogriff. Clear. And now I have to pee really bad, and then we will come back and do the next half. And I want to
I'm
talk to
gonna
the
go get
chat
some.
because I don't want to neglect them because I love the chat.
I love you, chat. Please stay with us.
Please stay with us. Stay with us, chat. Stay with
No,
us.
no, no, no,
I'll
no,
be right
no,
back.
no.
Hey, chat. Chit. Ashley, Dan, Mom. Who else is here today? Mike. Mike hasn't said anything since the beginning of the show. This is the longest episode we've had in a while, actually. Wow. We're going ham on this one. But that's good because it's good content. I think people will want to listen to this as long as we get the title right. How's everyone doing out there? Hopefully you guys are doing good. Streamlabs, Cloudbud. Yes, we'll be talking some numbers today before we get out of here. The second half will not nearly be as long. I'm freaking out. I just got a call. Was it a teacher or was it a kid, Mom?
Oh, boy.
Mom, was it a kid or was it a teacher? If anything, you can try to go get a rapid test tomorrow after school. Mama.
Mama, can you
that's true. Yeah, that's right. Well, if you don't feel safe, go get a rapid test tomorrow after school. Or over the weekend. Oh, I also have a clip we're going to listen to. We're going to listen to the vote stopping clip.
This is a very big moment.
Oh, no, not yet.
Yeah, I mean, Mrs. Harrington, are you wearing like gloves and a mask at work? Face mask as
yeah, they have to wear
face
masks.
shield. The face shield too.
Oh, I don't know about the face shield. I wear just the mask at my school. The face shield, the kids
face
aren't
shield,
sneezing everywhere.
You don't know how you feel about it?
I mean, I feel like it doesn't really do much. It's just literally like a little piece of plastic, and like anything can just go like right around up in there.
Right, is it true though? Isn't that the truth?
I'm trying to catch up to... Oh, when you get a chance, send me a description for last week's episode, and then this one, I guess. Not now. You don't have to do it now, but I'm going to add it to the YouTube video from last week. I'm going to get a drink, and then I'm good if you're good.
Let's go, sir.
All right, let me get a
I'm
drink.
ready for a nap. Oh no. Didn't even notice.
I'm pouring my seltzer for once.
You're pouring it? What is encourage
glass.
this?
Too many balls. Just because it's not cold, so I needed some ice. Okay.
Cold is probably better.
Am I good? Am I clear? Am I unfocused or am I focused? Am I focused?
I see you.
Okay, I'm focused. All right, here we go. Let's continue here. I'm sharply keeping my eyes on the election here on TV just in case Georgia gets flipped. Oh my god, it's 0.1%. Oh my god.
Wait.
Okay, here we go.
Oh.
Audacity. And okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. So, newsflash, and by newsflash I mean past, a newsflash of the past, because this is obviously going to be listened to by people from, in the future. It's currently 8:03 p.m. on Thursday, November 5th, and we have our eyes on the election votes being counted in various states that are left because they haven't finished counting votes yet since Tuesday. And Arizona was one of the states that wasn't really, at first it was not predicted to be a Biden state, but it's actually about to be flipped. They are literally 49.4 for Trump and 49.3 for Biden. 3,000 votes or 3,500 votes are what differ between the two. So it's literally, wow, that's a 0.1% difference. So there's a chance that Arizona might be flipped for this year. I believe that's the term they've been using. That's crazy. And then as well as we're still waiting on Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Nevada, and I think it's like one of the districts in Maine. I think Maine only gets one electoral vote or something like that. So yeah, it's a tight.
I'm watching a live stream of it here on YouTube. Excuse me. Excuse me. And they are showing us dual cameras here of Washington, D.C. It's still pretty peaceful in the streets. However, if you take a look at Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, this definitely resembles a 4th of July celebration. The police are all over the place. There are crowds of people in the street right now.
Oh yeah.
It looks like something's trying to happen.
Well, I mean, they've said this on TV and they said it a bunch of times. There are people that are either accusing the voting of being fraud or trying to be violent during the process. It's just disrespecting the democracy in the process. Like, leave the process alone. The people that are counting, the people counting these votes are citizens. It's not like they're like elected like politicians and stuff. It's like just people doing a job, man. It's not. It's wrong to want to hurt these people for doing what they're what they are actually doing is a great service to the democracy of our country. So
it is
leave
a
them alone.
service, and that's the thing. And that is the thing about America. America is the best damn country in the world. Like, we have the freedom to do this. We have the freedom for people to just count these votes, and we have the freedom for people to express themselves, whether it's positively or negatively. But absolutely, folks, you feel how you need to feel, but do not take away somebody else's like freedom and go because of how you're feeling.
So I mentioned before the break, I have some numbers here, and I just want to share some of these numbers in my notes because it's a lot of numbers. But for this election, the sheer numbers of people coming out, or that came out, I should say, to vote on Tuesday and whatever, are extraordinarily unique and historical. In fact, I believe this is one of the largest elections ever in the history of our country. And according to a guy named Michael McDonald, who's a researcher at UF and a professor at UF who does demographics and stuff like that, he projected that there would be at least 150 million voters in this election. But that was like on Tuesday or Monday. Here we are come Thursday. And we're already at, let me see the number. We're at 101 million. and that's not even counting all the votes so far. We're not even done yet, so that's pretty cool. That's a lot of people, and that would in 150 million, by the way, would have been, that is the highest, around the highest turnout rate since 1908, and that would reflect about 65% of the country voting. Like, that's how many people voted in our country. 150 million would be about 65% of that. So another cool fact, 93 million voters came out as of November 1st. So at that time, before Tuesday, 93 million people had already come out to vote, early voting or whatever.
COVID-related voting.
And that number, 93 million, that was already 68% of the total votes from 2016. So that was more than half of the voters voting, period, in 2016. And that was on Monday before, like, election day. And on election day, of course, millions of people voted as well because, a lot of people came in to vote on the day of in person. So it's like, wow, like, that's a lot of people. And we don't have to re-explain why, because we talked about all that. That was basically our whole conversation before the break. But that it's true. Like, these are numbers that they've broken down, and there's a lot of people voting. And that I honestly, I forget who I talked about this to. Sorry, you can say what are you going to say?
Let me ask you a question. This is honestly, I was really shocked. So let me get your total honest answer here.
Mm-hmm.
Were you shocked that Trump took Florida?
Not shocked, more disappointed. And I'll be honest, I had thoughts about it before voting. I felt like every other day or every other week, at least once a week or twice a week, I would hit one of those corners of an intersection where there was just a parade of Trump people, like, had signs and hats, and they were waving and honking and stuff. Like, I'm not kidding, in Orlando. At least once a week or twice a week, I would see that in different places, and it's like, I didn't really see that for Biden. Like, there wasn't that camaraderie. I'm not saying there isn't camaraderie, but I'm saying it wasn't showcased. It wasn't openly showcased for Biden in Florida or in Orlando, for that matter. I know there's a lot of people who do support Biden, because a lot of my friends and a lot of my family members are on the Biden train, but I just did not see the camaraderie in terms of, like, again, I go back to the sports team analogy. Like, a lot of the Trump people are like sports team fans. They wear all the jerseys and shirts and the hats, and they have the flags. And I didn't see that same energy from the Biden supporters in Florida.
It's funny because just like even throughout Trump's president, I was about to say pregnancy for some reason, but throughout
he might
Trump's
as well be.
presidency, throughout Trump's entire presidency, I have found it incredibly humorous. Like, people are wearing hats of his all the time, his shirt, his flag. Prior to Donald Trump being president, really, I never saw. No, that's a lie. Barack Obama. So starting with Barack Obama, I saw the T-shirts and the hats and the apparel and things like that. But prior to all of that, people, I show support and love for my president by a bumper sticker on my car, and it's hilarious, and what I am noticing, kind of what you've just said, in 2016, with 90 million people being 68% of the overall voters, it's just funny because it's like the people who didn't vote or weren't interested in voting were almost just kind of like expecting, everybody to just be like, this is not cool. So, let's not do it. And now, since it happened, everybody is just like, whoa, 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 we really don't want this to happen again. So let's get out there and do something about it. So it's funny. It's funny because it's like I said in the beginning, these are kind of just even coming before we went on the break, you have to just want to know things. You have to want to take the initiative. Otherwise, you're stuck with what you have, what is it?
Excuse me.
Oh, I just lost my train of thought. But at the end of the day, I'm incredibly satisfied and thrilled with the voter turnout because prior to this election, really, like, I was the only one in my group of friends that had any type of like,
Political
let's talk
interest.
politics.
And here's
exactly
going back to what
and
I was
now
going to
here we
say.
are.
Yeah, going back to what I was going to try to say was this presidency was almost the best and worst thing for us as a country.
Absolutely.
Because
I
I
wholeheartedly agree with
almost
that.
compare it. Obviously, there's a drastic difference, but I almost compare it to like UCF's 0-12 season. We lost every single game, but that brought new coaches, that brought new recruits, and then the very 2 seasons later, we're undefeated and a Peach Bowl championship, claiming a national champion. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of how this feels. Like, it feels like, yeah, we just went through like the worst of the worst in terms of a presidency and in terms of, dealing with a guy who, and of course I have my opinions, but not the best guy, but now it's like, to the resurge from that, the coming people coming together, hopefully, and moving to the next best thing. You know what I mean? Like, improving upon it. I feel like it's gonna be like that kind of thing where like this next 4 years or maybe even 8 years might be like some of the best we see in a while in terms of social stuff. Hopefully, I'm
Social
hoping.
growth.
Cross my fingers. Knock on wood. Social improvements and maybe even like what people thought would be an economic disaster under Biden, but maybe it's not. Like, we don't know. Like, I don't know too much about the Biden's economic plans, but hopefully, like, stuff that'll help us out and bring us together, peace and love. Your hippie needs to
Absolutely.
come out. We need more hippies to come out, like Victoria's Halloween hippie. Like, we need more of that. Just that, like, let's be cool with each other. We can have differences and opinions, but like, the hate was just so much this past 4 years. There's so much hate and so much negative relationships among different types of people, and it's like it's horrible, and I just,
It's time
again,
to heal.
I look at, I mean, when it comes to like teacher pay and going back even during COVID, when I look at teacher pay and I look back to why am I teaching during a pandemic. Like, teachers are getting sick and dying from teaching in schools that are too small to social distance from. Who I look at for that? I look up to the governor, because he's the one who's forcing it. He's the one who's kind of making that choice. And now when it comes to the social injustices or the social problems, I don't even want to say injustices. I know there are injustices, but I'm saying, like, in general, the social issues that we're facing right now, I look up to the top. I do. And it's
but Jesse,
what?
continue.
No, that was it.
Continue.
I'm done. Go.
No, I agree. I definitely think you need to always look at the top. But something that always stuck with me about watching Black Mirror, the lessons were very like I don't know,
Brutal.
they were like very kind of traumatizing. Like, they
Yeah,
really
they're
made you
brutal.
think. And in the first episode, the end, the whole like moral of the first episode was, you need to look around you. You need to look around you and see what's going on around you. You know, just like, I completely agree with you. I think the next 4 years could be the next best 4 years, or good 8 years, and we're going to see what happens. But at the end of the day, I think, as far as like socially what's going on around you and how you feel things are going based off of what is being told to you, I think you should just take a look around and notice things. I've noticed quite a lot of things in this time. A lot of people, especially with like race, and I think that's something maybe you and I could talk about later. But I have noticed, at least in this area, a very positive change in the direction of social inclusion of everybody, of all the races, of all the demographics, no matter who your walk of life is. And I'm incredibly thankful for that. I really am. So I just, whatever happens, regardless of who wins, you guys, really just focus all of your energy and on being a better neighbor to your people. It's amazing what you can do when we just put the hate aside.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think, if again, like you said, if no matter who wins, this is kind of like that wake up call moment, and I think for us,
It's time, guys.
but the only,
it's okay to hurt. It's okay to hurt, but it's time to move on. We can't hurt forever.
I mean,
It's time.
well, but here's where I have, not to throw a wrench into that idea, because I agree with you, but it's when I say when I say people look up to the top, it's also for like the worst reasons, right? And I just feel like sometimes the social unrest isn't isn't. It's incited by some people, you know, like when you have a guy like I hate, and this I'm not trying to make this like a bash Trump show, but it's like the dude, he is the social unrest. He is, from what I could tell, he's the guy. Like, even if there were people that were racist or whatever and all that fun stuff, right? There are a bunch of people who are racist, I'm sure, right? 1,000%.
Absolutely.
But,
you're entitled to that. You're
but he's the one who energizes that. He's the one who gets them to be vocal about it and to like not be afraid. You know, that's the problem. That's why that's why I have such a big problem with this guy. Again, the policies are something you can discuss and argue, but racism isn't something you should be arguing. Racism is something that should be. I know what you're talking about. I know. I'm just saying though, like, that's why I'm saying, like, to like, no matter who wins, like, this is why I think so many showed up, because I think it does matter who wins in this one. It does matter. It's like going back to the UCF analogy. We were 0-12. Our coach left us, and we got a new coach. But what if he stayed? What if our old coach that went 0-12 for us stayed? We probably go 0-24. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
you don't know that.
I don't know that,
don't.
but
like, that's what
all
I'm saying.
the evidence.
That's what I'm getting at.
No. All the evidence is pointing to that. That's what I'm saying.
Jesse,
is like,
but that's where but you see, like, this is where, I really beg to differ. If the man really was racist, or just like period overall, I'm not talking specifically about him. I'm talking specifically about like the change that has to come. It doesn't matter who your leader is. Again, this is a free country. So it's your choice to continue to like incite these things, and it's your choice to like continue to entertain these things. Where I am, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I've noticed like a huge influx of the African American community here. Like, I have never seen so many people like that in my life around here. The majority of the gym, everywhere, like, I deliver for Postmates sometimes, like almost every establishment I go into to grab food, I'm getting it from somebody of color, and it's a huge step forward from where we've been. So when I continue to tell you that a lot of these things are choices, you're choosing to continue to act like this. You're continue to choosing to think that this is okay. It's like the same thing with Caitlin Bennett. If she really was going to go around like shooting people with that gun, we would do something about it. We really would do something about it. But the fact is the only reason people don't like her is because she's trolling people. It's not because she's carrying the gun. It's because she's trolling people. It's what we're choosing to see. It's what we're choosing to listen to. It's what we're choosing to do. So what are you going to do with your freedom to do your own homework and see what's going on here? I agree with Mrs. Harrington here. The problem, if Trump if he doesn't win, he will not do it graciously. I agree with that. He's going to be very upset, but like I said, for the most part, I think he's more of like a puppet for something that's going on.
Okay, but again, okay, so let's take that example then. If he doesn't win and he doesn't do it graciously, do you think he's not doing it graciously for him? No. He would be a sore loser in the spotlight while he can to inspire the people he did follow him. And guess what? Those people are probably going to act accordingly. That's what I'm saying, is like, this dude, if anything, has been a master of manipulation and a master of inciting. I said that word so many times today, but influencing his followers, and not in a good way. That's what I'm saying. Is like, if it was any other person, I don't want to say any other person, but if it was like a person with like a professional head on his shoulders, I wouldn't be saying that right now.
I mean, you can't say that. To be honest with you, Jesse, that's relative. That is completely relative, and like, it's because that's every candidate, in every presidential election, when there was one that somebody favored over the other. I don't want to sit here and like bash the guy or anything. It's different to say it now because, this person just openly just bashes people, as opposed in the past when they would just be like, well, when Senator such and such was the senator for his state and he had the opportunity to blah, 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 and he didn't.
But that's what
they
I'm
just insulted
saying.
each other in a classier way.
But
it's still an insult. But you're still insulting somebody.
But
I understand there are like ways about going to do it. you know, we need to find a middle ground. Like, unless this is something you really want to sincerely continue to talk about for the rest of your life, police brutality, racial injustice, unfair pay, unfair treatment, and, people not, doing their fair share, continue to pick a side. If you really are for, unity and moving forward because we're better than that and we understand why it's wrong and why it was bad, then, like, that's what we're for. That's what we need to be looking at.
I'm not talking about the policies. I'm talking about behavior. Straight
I'm
up.
not talking about the policies, Jesse. I'm not talking about policies. I'm talking about behavior. Like, there's people who, like who I am in the parties because of my personality, and outside of a party, they don't care to mesh with who I am because they don't like how I am as a person.
But
other way around.
But you mentioned,
so it's the same thing.
That's what I'm saying, though. Is like you. In fact, you mentioned it just a moment ago. He is the guy who's gonna say like you said, like there's gonna be mudslinging at these like debates, for example. Fine, but this dude takes it to the level that's not professional, and that influences his followers, and like that the normal racist, white supremacists, whatever. I'm not saying that's like all of them, but like the people that were in the shadows that weren't really open about that kind of stuff, and they kind of kept to their own business, like they probably should have. Now they're starting to brave up. They're starting to come out of those shadows, and they're starting to make statements and follow this guy because he's like this martyr for them. I hate to say that, but it's like that's the part that I'm not okay with. In terms of the policies, I can give two craps right now. It's the social. We don't have social issues for no reason. We don't have a turnout that's the most in United States history for no reason. He is the reason. That's what I'm saying. If it was any other candidate, and I'm not psychic, and I know you're gonna call me out and say like, "Oh, well, you don't know that." Well, I'm willing to almost bet my bank account that this election or the one that's happening right now, if it was any other candidate who was not so openly derogatory or demeaning or unprofessional, if it was any other candidate, you would not see the 93 million on Monday. You would not see the 101 million that have voted up until yesterday. You just wouldn't, because people would not be incite or influenced or energized to go out there and vote.
They wouldn't have a reason to do it.
People who are Biden supporters are energized to vote because they're like, we got to get this guy the fuck out of here. People that are on the Trump side are like, fuck, a lot of people don't like Trump, but I do, so we got to go out and make sure that he stays in the office. Because it was that, the past 4 years have been that influential. Do you see what I'm saying? And not necessarily in a good way. Do you see what I'm saying?
Also, no, absolutely. And
so that's what I'm saying.
It's going to mold the next generation of people.
It's literally,
it really is.
It's not, this is not a left or right. This is a person thing. This guy, from what I've seen on media, from what I've seen in the news, and I know the news isn't the best whatever, but I mean, Twitter at this point is my news. Because Twitter has the most raw footage you can find of almost any incident, even like whether it be the BLM riots or protests or whatever. You can find the source video, the source content before the media touches it. You can find that stuff on Twitter at this point or on Reddit. And you can see with your own two eyes what actually happened, right? Versus what the media takes it and fabricates a story on. But I've seen enough of that raw footage to realize, like, dude, what this guy is I don't want to say he's crazy, but like this guy, this, no wonder there's a turnout of 101 million or plus for this election, and it's historical because, dude, like, it's, I don't know. Do you see what I'm saying? No, I know everyone has a choice. I understand everyone has a choice, but the choice is the choice is people either want him gone forever, or they want him to stay and continue what happened for the past 4 years.
Right?
And this is why,
it's
like,
such a shakeup. it's such a shakeup because again, before nobody cared. And again, like you even said, it's just relative. Like whether you think it's good or bad, like can you believe it? Like at the
So
end of the
here's
day, like some dude that was either so good or so bad for this country, like got people to pay attention to things, got people to pay attention. It's important for you to vote. Like aside from the fact that, millions of people have died for us to just sit here and even talk crap about Donald Trump, you have to vote. There's no freaking reason prior to this election that you didn't go out and vote.
right,
Like shame
and I
on
agree
you.
that
You do not care for the
that's
amenities that come with being in this country
right,
if you did not vote prior to this election.
and that's
Okay?
why
You are a shitty person if you think that treating somebody different based on the color of their skin was a good thing to do. And it's amazing that such a I guess you could say auspicious person brought that to light. I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm not saying he did a bunch of good things, but for overall what it is that's going on, he's brought attention to a lot of things. So you're absolutely right. Possibility of outcry or, euphoria
mhm.
after this election.
Well,
It's great. Like I'm not trying to beat on you, man. I'm not trying to like, talk down on you or anything like that. But it's just, like I said, I have been registered since I was 16. They could not mail me my card until I was 18. The fact that before I could even vote, I had the opportunity to participate and do my American duty because I'm a free woman in this country to do whatever I want. You know, the fact that I've done it. I have not missed anything since I was 17. Like this is a big deal. Like I'm really, between me and you, like super crazy touched that people finally turned out to do the right thing.
yeah, I enjoyed. I went through the process for the first. This is my first time. I didn't vote until this year, and so
Congratulations.
I enjoyed the process. But like I said, it was only because like before now or before this time, I just kind of didn't really have the. It really didn't affect me either way, right? I was in school. I was focusing on that. That was my goal, to get a job out of school, which I got. Which thank God, like thank goodness I was able to do that. And but now that I'm paying attention, I almost feel as if though this is the best and worst time to experience this. Like I almost now next election, I almost want to know what whoever's next in the candidacy or whoever whatever happens next. I almost find it interesting to see because I get to actually read through these things, the information and policies and stuff without there being an exponential flair to it, I guess you can say. Because I mean that's what
Absolutely.
this felt. This felt like an exponential flair or an exponential like energy of oh my god, like things have to be different, like versus me just sitting down, relaxing, reading up on some things, watching. Because I've watched my fair share of both candidates. I've seen enough Trump videos and speeches and whatever. There's a few times this season, or I keep saying season, this presidency.
What are you binge watching, Jesse? What have you been watching, man?
UCF games. There's been a few candidacies speeches that I've seen of Trump, and I knew because I knew since the guy got elected, I knew I wasn't a fan of him in terms of how he talked, how he's done these horrible things either to women or to whatever, and not a fan. Like that already shut me down. I'm a firm believer if the president isn't like a good person, in general, like if I can't trust them with my family or around my family or like with my, you know what I mean? Like I'm not a fan,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But anyway, it's just, what was I saying about that? Oh, I was just saying like, I just don't, I don't think he I never liked it. I watched those videos and I was like, like every time he talked, the as I mentioned before, the diction's always been very controlling and manipulative, and I use the same analogy as before, like that boyfriend who can say all the right things even though you knew he was toxic, you knew he was.
I'm sorry, I broke up with her. She's not even around.
Like,
I'd be
you know what I
settling
mean?
if I get back together with her.
But obviously, instead of a boyfriend and girlfriend, it's like him and then his constituents. That's what he does. He just knows how to bait them in and like say the things that they want to hear and get them to rally, and and I just don't hear that out of like other presidents, period. They don't have although they might be doing something along the same lines, they don't have the same impact that he has. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I'm not saying other presidents haven't spoken in a way that they know that is going to please their followers. Obviously that's the whole point. But this dude says it almost unfiltered and completely obviously like controlling in a way where it's like, dude, like if I had a guy who was listening next to me who was like hypnotized by it, I'd be like snapping my fingers like, wake up, are you hearing how he's saying this? Like, are you serious, dude? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So I don't know. That's just how I took that. Let's call. Do you have anything else you want to share before we go? Because this is probably our longest episode ever.
We're really passionate. And yes, you know what? I have a quote for later, but yes, you know what? Congratulations on Oregon passing for psilocybin testing. Again, all for the enrichment of being a better person. Congratulations, Oregon.
Oregon? What?
Oregon had on
Oregon.
their ballot.
Oregon. Okay.
Oregon was voting. Oregon, Minnesota, Oregon had on their ballot using psilocybin as a means for medical treatment, and it got approved.
What is
and
that?
I'm in. Psilocybin are mushrooms. They are going to use mushrooms, medically dosed out.
Okay.
Grams of mushrooms to start treating people, with depression or PTSD, really just like debilitating diseases for people to kind of, restart and go on.
Okay. That's cool. As long as it helps people, that's all I'm about it. As long as it's helpful and it's not life-threatening, I'm about it.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. Happy to be an American.
Yeah.
Where at least I know I'm free.
All right, with that, I wanted to watch the Trump speech of him talking about stopping the votes. Maybe we'll just save that for next week. That way I don't take up too much time here. But with that being said, let us get the heck out of here. Victoria, as usual, do you have a quote of the day?
I do have a quote of the day.
Oh, wait, actually, tell us your socials first, and then we'll do the quote of the day. We'll do it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, cool cats, you can find me on Instagram at @DoTheHippogriff. You can find me on Facebook at Victoria Sorrentino. And you can find me on Twitter at, well, you know what, just forget it. Just find me on those two places. That's too many names. Too many names.
Too many names? That's fine.
I'm just giving you two names, and I'm going to give you a different Twitter name. Just find me on Instagram and Facebook, my two most used social media platforms.
Were you gonna give your project? At least say the project. Tell them the
Victoria's Fitness Secret. All over the place.
Secrets. There you go.
You can find me on Twitter at VixFitSecret. You can find me on Instagram at Victoria's Fitness Secret. You can also search me up on YouTube, guys. Victoria's Fitness Secret. I'll give you all of the tips and tricks you didn't know you could use to work out at home.
Shout out to Pablo. One of my friends just got in a chat, and he's like, hi, but also bye, because we're leaving now. Pablo, this was like our longest episode in a long time. We were on here for, let's see,
almost 2 hours.
The first one was almost 2 hours. First half was 46 minutes, and this half is 32 minutes. So yeah, long episode, but it's all political talk. It's all big stuff happening right now for our country. So good episode. Let me finish up with this. Thank you, Victoria, for sharing all that stuff. You can find us live every Thursday here on YouTube at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, you can find us on anchor.fm/IceT and the Hippogriff and many other platforms. Anywhere you find your podcast, you can find us there. And for myself, I am IceT Kirby. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at IceT Kirby. And of course, please, please, please be sure to follow, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and our other platforms. That way you don't miss anything that we post. I'm going to, again, make a harder, dedicated effort to post on the Instagram more. Victoria has posted as well. And it will be a fun time. We'll be talking next week. We'll probably talk more about this political stuff next week. I do have, like I said, I have some videos to share. And with that said, Victoria, do you have a quote of the day?
Remember, remember, the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I knew of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot.
Wow. Are you gonna quote the author?
V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta is the author. No, that's a cool one. I like that.
It is
but yeah,
November 5th.
thank you everybody. See you later. We will see you next Thursday here on YouTube at 7 o'clock p.m. And be sure to catch our episode released on Tuesday. And with that said, bye-bye. See you later.
Nice. Pablo and Mike picked up on it. Yes, Mike. Isn't that crazy when we picked up on that? Like coronavirus or water poisoning.
All right, save project as part 2.
Why
Save.
you keep it in on his part 2?
Okay.
Oh man. You know, I see here on your CNN though that Joe Biden has 253 and 213. However, if I go on this other page that I was watching, Joe Biden had 254 and
264.
Trump had 214.
264.
I'm sorry. You see, look at this.
That's what I'm saying. I have multiple sources have different numbers. I don't know which one is more accurate. So, I've realized that too, though. There's different numbers. Pennsylvania. Biden in Pennsylvania he's 0.8 away from taking Pennsylvania. If he takes Pennsylvania, it's over.
Oh yeah.
Because that's 20 electoral votes. That's crazy. Crazy.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We'll see what happens, you know, and yeah, if it'd be great if he wins. It'd be It would be really nice if Biden could just take this. You know, they're saying they're not going to have these votes counted probably until like Monday. I heard yesterday until tomorrow, but then you know now you and your mom both said that it could be until Tuesday. I don't know how I feel about all that. Good luck to us, right?
Yeah. Sorry. I got distracted by my PE coach memeing.
Gotta see some of these memes that they're putting out there.
But anyway, I might go
All
play
right,
video
friend.
games.
¿Qué pasó?
I'm gonna go play video games, I think, for a little bit before I go
Do you
to bed.
think? Do you think? Chicken wang.
Thank you,
Good
everyone.
show.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out today, as usual. We will be back next week for the next edition of IceT and Hippogriff. And have a wonderful night. And see y'all later. And
Bye-bye.
peace out, y'all. Bye, Victoria.
Bye, Jesse.
Peace out, guys. Thank you for a good show.